Rise and shine. We're going to do it one more time this week. The Edmonton Oilers wrapping up their 4-game Eastern Conference road trip in Pittsburgh against the Penguins. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Zach to come with you on this lovely Sunday in Edmonton. The weather is nice. Spring is right around the corner. You can feel it. And we've got some morning hockey, and we're glad to be with you on this lovely Sunday where we sprung forward and lost an hour of sleep. I'm sure everyone is delighted about that. We're just glad you chose to spend your Sunday morning here with us as we get you set for the Oilers and the Penguins. Get in on the conversation. Hit us up in the inbox, 780-218-9999. And, of course, if you're watching, good morning, Nasties. Hello, Joel. Hello, Jim. Hello, Penner's Pancakes. Good morning, VR Montenegro. What's up, Barry the Cheater? Hi, Zedmo. Hope you guys are doing good, and you can get into the nasty chat, of course. I know, people shaking off the cobwebs. I'm sure people are a little bit tired. They're wondering what the hell time it is. You're not alone. I'm with you. And so, too, is our young protege, Zach Decum, who is here in studio. Good morning, Zach Decum. How you doing, pal?
Good morning. I'm doing all right, surprisingly, after losing that hour. I know I was shocked. Yeah, I'm buzzing. Got a coffee that sparked me up, but I didn't realize that. I almost went to bed without changing my time. So I could have been late, but I wasn't. I checked it.
You were
checked
here
my clock
very early today.
Yeah, I was here probably 7:45, I think. Yeah, I was getting prepped, getting all this stuff ready for the show and ready to go for today.
Attaboy. You're a pro.
Yeah. Trying to be.
We've trained you well. Joel says, hi, Zach. Was waiting for Tommy to say who was there. It is our boy, Zach, to come. So there you go.
Hey.
Nasty's checking in. Good morning, Chili Cheese. Great name. Hello, Richard. I feel like... Who was it that used to say good morning? Was it the polka dot door? You're way too young for the polka dot door. Do you remember that one? What did you watch in the mornings as a kid? What were your go-to shows and cartoons? Because I'm gonna just lay out some shows that I watched as a kid: Mr. Dress Up, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Polka Dot Door, Zoobilee Zoo, Teddy Ruxpin, the Jetsons, Flintstones, and what else was on in the mornings back then? I think that's about... Sharon, Lois, and Bram.
I haven't heard that last one. Not at all.
You've never heard the elephant song?
No.
Skinnamarink Dinky Dink?
Oh, what? That's from that?
That's from Sharon, Lois, and Bram.
Yeah, my parents used to sing that to me when I was a little baby. I've never watched the show. At least I don't remember. Flintstones, Jetsons, like you said.
Classics.
Toopy and Bino when I was really young. SpongeBob.
Toopy and Bino. SpongeBob. Isn't SpongeBob was supposed to be for older kids, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I never watched it.
It's got a bit of a twist sometimes. Okay. I guess it's pretty kid friendly. I watched it probably. That was my most watched show. When I got older, there was a show Adventure Time.
Yeah.
I love that one. Man, I'm drawing a blank. There's a lot of shows though from the past. Ren and Stimpy, late at night though.
Really?
Yeah,
I remember
late at night,
Stimpy.
Teletoon at night. Johnny Bravo sometimes. All the good shows were on at night, so I'd stay up to watch that. Danny Phantom, Fairly Odd Parents was a big one as well. I love that show. Tom and Jerry, of course, Looney Tunes.
I remember Looney Tunes, classic.
So good. And then, Simpsons and stuff like that, too.
In the morning, though. We're keeping
in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was a time, before school, Global, when it was still ITV, would have, Tailspin. They would have Darkwing Duck, Tintin. I think there was a Robin Hood cartoon in there at some point. And what other show am I forgetting? There was DuckTales. So there's DuckTales and Tailspin. And I think Tiny Toons instead of Looney Tunes. It was
Tiny Toons.
Yeah, it was the young version of Looney Tunes.
I might have watched that.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Okay, I haven't watched that.
Yeah.
No, I haven't watched that. There was this one Beaver show that I watched, and And then Mickey Mouse Clubhouse as well. That was a really good one. I love that one. Okay. So
I'm seeing some good ones in the nasty chat right now. I'm going to read them off because I've forgotten a few of them. Romper Room, Zedmo says. Circle Square, Penner's Pancakes says. Friendly Giant as well. I forgot about Friendly Giant. Did you ever hear of Fraggle Rock? It was like puppets. Sesame Street.
Oh, well, the name rings a bell, but I can't really put an image to it. Like, I don't have any memories of watching that show or watching Fraggle Rock.
Oh, and VR Montenegro is saying Romper Room is the one I was thinking of where they looked in the mirror and they say, I see Billy and Tammy, and they would say names, and if they said, like, I see Tom, I'd be like, they saw me. They saw me today. Oh, my God. What was the other one? What was the one with the mannequin in the mannequin in the mall? Today's Special. Did you ever hear of that?
No, not even once.
I loved Today's Special.
Huh.
It was great.
More coming to mind. Wonder Pets, Backyardigans.
Backyardigans?
Yeah.
That's a great name.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like, because I was born in 2003, so I was watching all those shows. I watched some of the ones that my brother watched.
Yeah.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, I didn't really watch too much.
Did you watch Rugrats?
Yes.
Great show.
Yeah, I love the movies too. So good. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I watched some of the Batmans. Teen Titans a little bit.
I've heard of Teen Titans.
Yeah, they're pretty good. There's like two different shows now. I guess the old one, and then they got the Go, like the newer one. But
man, I think we just opened up a can of worms here because I'm seeing shows that I forgot about. Mighty Hercules, VR Montenegro says, I remember that. Muppets, yes, I remember Muppets. Zedmo says Rocket Robin Hood. Joel says Teletubbies. Herc. Yeah, was that Newt? He had Newt and he played the flute. Yeah. Today's Special, Rip City Step remembers Today's Special. It was a mannequin, and then there was a puppet for a security guard, and I think his name was Sam Crenshaw, if I remember correctly. And then the lady that ran the store where the mannequin was, she would close it up, and then the mannequin would come alive at night. It was this crazy show. I loved it. I'd watch it in the morning.
Yeah, that sounds kind of spooky. George Shrinks is another one.
Okay.
That's a pretty... not many people I know have watched that one.
Did you watch Recess?
Yeah.
That was a good show.
Yeah, and I think they had a movie too, which was really nice.
Magic School Bus?
Yep.
Yeah,
Wayside's another one. It's kind of, well, not really like Magic School Bus. There was basically this school, like 80 stories tall. It's just some crazy fictional school. Pretty funny show, actually. So good. Oh, this is bringing back so many memories.
Yeah.
Like now, a lot of these shows that we're talking about, I forgot about Recess.
There was
for a little
lot of great morning shows. So if you're not sure what the hell we're talking about instead of Oilers Penguins, good morning. We lost an hour last night, and we're talking about old cartoons and kids shows you watched growing up before you would start your day.
Yeah.
And it's just opened up this whole flood of different shows that people are talking about. And then like the different generations that we're seeing. Harriet's Magic Hearts, VR Montenegro says. Alexis, good morning. She's here for me. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. What is Richard? What's the one Richard's talking about that was filmed at our... Oh, Popcorn Playhouse. Yeah. Popcorn Playhouse was a kids show that I heard about from my dad and my uncles. It used to be filmed in the studios at our old building where we had 1260. And the set is still down in the basement. I remember Low Tide telling me, he's like, hey, the whole Popcorn Playhouse set is downstairs. And I was like, what is Popcorn Playhouse? And my dad would tell me about it. And he was on it one time, I think, for his birthday. We're talking about like the 60s and 70s here.
Okay.
I think. It must have been the 60s because my dad was like mid to late 50s.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I know.
The more you know every day. I see Joel saying in the nasty chat, Johnny Test.
What's that?
Johnny Test. It's about this boy who has flaming hair. That's a part of the show, but he has this dog named Duke who talks, and the reason he talks is because he has two twin sisters that are like scientists, and they do crazy stuff, and they always get into mischief. Like they have crazy guns, space, and like the FBI in the show. It's pretty wild, actually.
What was this
super
called?
funny. Johnny Test.
Johnny Test.
Yeah. They probably had like 6 seasons, I think. Something like that. Yeah. It ran for quite a bit. I watched that a lot. Pinky and the Brain.
I remember Pinky and the Brain. That was part of Looney Tunes. And then I think Pinky and the Brain got their own show.
Yeah.
Very good. VR Montenegro he's diving deep. Biker Mice from Mars. I had a couple of those. My cousin had a couple of those toys. Those were great. Quick Draw McGraw says, Zedmo. Animaniacs. That was a great show. I remember that. I just had one. Teddy Ruxpin. I loved Teddy Ruxpin. Fred Penner. That was a great show. What else? I had another one at the top of my tongue that I just forgot about. The Friendly Giant. Did you ever watch The Friendly Giant?
No.
I had a love-hate relationship with The Friendly Giant because I'd be like, I want to watch another cartoon. And then you get The Friendly Giant, and he had like, he'd put a chair out for you, but it was like these little models, and he'd be like, look up, look way up. And then he had, I think it was like a rooster in a bag, and then the giraffe would stick his head into Jerome the giraffe would stick his head into the Friendly Giant's castle. It was old.
Why? See, when you say the giraffe head into the castle, I swear that just sparked a memory of mine. Really? I might have seen it. Like,
you're like 20 years younger than me, or 18 years younger than me. So if they still played Friendly Giant at your age, wow.
They probably did. Another one. This one was, it was a weird show. It's called Fanboy and Chum Chum, just by the name. Like, these guys, they pretended like they were superheroes, kind of like Captain Underpants, I guess, but before, around the same time the books were. But they wore like full like spandex suits, but then underwear on top. Yeah. Sort of like Captain Underpants. It was like brain rot for kids. It was a bad show. Like, my mom didn't want me watching it. And I knew a couple of my buddies who wanted to watch it really bad, and their parents were like, no, you're watching like SpongeBob or something.
Like, that's way better.
Well, yeah. Compared to that show, honestly, it was miles different.
Oh, Electric Company. I remember that. Wow, Selena Gomez, Rip City Step says, was on Barney as one of the kids.
Really?
Joel says, Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps? That was on YTV. Eric says Maggie and the Ferocious Beast. Does anybody remember My Pet Monster? And was it Denver the Last Dinosaur? My Pet Monster was a great show. Great show. Schoolhouse Rock, that was a good one. Mr. Magoo.
Classic.
Ernie says, anyone ever watch hockey? Ernie, we're going to get to a lot of hockey talk. It is 9:44, and we just lost an hour of sleep, and we're having a great time together. And you can't talk about sports. Don't be that guy, Ernie. Not in this situation. It is the Oilers and the Penguins. I love this. Nasty Chat, you guys are doing great. Love ya. Keep it going. Another one says, we're getting texts about it too, 780-218-9999. Mighty Max, undergrads, and someone says Stoff and Fred Flintstone look similar. All right, keep those texts coming in. We're getting you ready for the Oilers and the Pens. Matt Kassian coming up just around 10 to give us game changers. We're having some fun. It's Sunday. Like, holy smokes. Ernie, do you want us to just cram your head full of stats at 9:45? We're not all robots.
I can't remember that many numbers. Like I said, I almost forgot to set my clock last night.
We're in it together.
We are.
We're in it together, okay? Edmonton coming off a 3-2 shootout loss. Weird game where they got scored on in OT. The whole team was probably half undressed, ready to hop on the bus and fly to Pittsburgh, and then they reviewed it. Brad Harrison, equipment manager for the Oilers, had to run back because him and Glenn Gulletson stayed on the bench. Had to tell the team, hey, get dressed. We got to play. I swear, those guys are, like, out of that room so fast. Like, there were probably guys about to hop in the shower that quickly. Like, they don't mess around.
Only after a loss or after a win as well? Like, are they just quick?
On the road, some guys want to meet their friends and family before the bus leaves, so they're just, like, they don't waste any time. And so they just rush out. And so that was an interesting one. So they gave them a couple minutes to get their gear back on. Both teams, I'm sure, wanted to get their gear back on. And they reviewed it. There was an offside on Owen Powers, non-goal. Oilers almost get scored on in the last 20 seconds that they had to replay. They were very sloppy. And then they lost in the shootout.
Well, like it would be so sort of, I guess, deflating. Like you lose and
they lost twice.
Yeah, basically. You lost twice.
And Foegele didn't get that. Or he wasn't having it. No. I don't know what you mean.
I don't.
He did lose twice. Yeah. It's like when Chris Campoli for the New York Islanders scored twice in overtime. So he took a shot. Okay? It went in, but it went through the netting. Officials didn't see it. They just assumed it went wide or the goalie made the save. Puck came out. He was like celebrating. He's like, that went in. Puck came out to him in the slot, and he shot it in again. This was like 12 years ago. This was a while ago.
So does it count for two? No.
That'd be amazing, right?
Yeah.
Stats are good that night. No, it was just the one. They gave him the first one.
Yeah. That's like their head's probably already going on to the next game or seeing the family. Like you're on to another thing. The game ended. You're like, okay, that happened.
Yeah.
Let's move on. They get undressed, and then you have to get your head back into the game as well.
Well, their head was not in the game for the last two periods, and you're right. Like they should, in theory, have gotten their heads back into the game. They didn't.
No,
they didn't look good in overtime. The shootout, shootout is shootout. Who knows what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
They lost it. Not good enough. Blew a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, they started really strong in that game too. I mean, right off the hop, Draisaitl almost fed McLeod cross ice, and he missed the net, but it was a great opportunity.
10 seconds later.
Yeah, and then just wheeled back.
Great start. 780-218-9999. Cass coming up in about 10 minutes time. I love Nasty Chat. Look what we've started. All these old shows that we would watch as youngins. Pippi Longstocking. Joel says, I remember Pippi Longstocking. My brothers like that show very much. Power Rangers, Spency 5 cents. He says, I love Power Rangers. Turtles, obviously. Ninja Turtles was great. Sesame Street says, Jenna. Babar. Do you remember Babar?
No.
The elephant?
There's a lot of shows with elephants.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've ever heard of that one, to be completely honest with you.
Babar was different. It was good. Paddington Bear? Remember Paddington Bear?
Yeah, well, and then the movies came out more recently.
Yeah.
I remember watching some of that.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, Winnie the Pooh.
Rocky and Bullwinkle? Did you ever watch that?
Oh, my. Hold on. Yeah, I think I have. Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Yeah, that's an old one. We used to have a Chuck E. Cheese type of place called Bullwinkle's here. I had my 5th birthday there, or 6th. It was they had animatronics, and it was all from the show. And it was the best. They had the Ninja Turtles arcade game from 1989. And that thing was a quarter muncher. And me being like 5 years old, I want to play Ninja Turtles. And I would play it, and I would die instantly. And my dad would help me. Don't help me. More quarters, Dad. He's like, I'm out of quarters. You wasted like $5 in quarters. More.
Hey, I mean, that's where you get practice, right? You just got to keep trying. Yeah, just a quarter.
Eventually, when you get older, you buy the game and you play it.
Yeah.
With your brothers. Yeah. Weird. Lots of great memories there. Yeah, I think I remember I had my first year playing hockey, Micromites. Our year-end party was at Bullwinkle's. You know what you get? It would be dark. You'd have the animatronics show, long tables. They'd bring you pizza, the jugs of pop, and you're a kid. You had a mullet like I did, wearing a bow tie and like suspenders and just stuffing your face with pizza and soda. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And then when it was your birthday, they had the sand pit, and you would dig for tokens to play the games in the arcade.
Oh, what?
Yeah, man.
I remember going to Chuck E. Cheese. They never had anything like that, though.
Chuck E. Cheese was okay. I was a little too old for Chuck E. Cheese when it got here.
Yeah, it was. I've been there a couple times. I think I've had a couple pizza parties there. Pretty fun. But digging for tokens, see, that's the way you got to celebrate your birthday. That's every kid's dream.
It was amazing. Now, as an adult, I realized how much bacteria was in that sand and in that scooper. But what a time to be alive.
Yeah, I have 2 baby nieces. They go to the play place a lot, and I come with them. And it's so dirty there. Like kids, they're just kids. Like I remember in the playground and everything. I had a couple buddies who would like back in when I was in elementary school during recess. I had one friend who I'd make fun of all the time because he'd wash his hands after recess. I'm like, why are you washing your hands?
Well,
but now
smart kid.
Yeah. In hindsight, yeah.
Right.
What was that one show? It was, I don't remember if this is what it was called. Specifically, it was like Mr. White versus Mr. Black or something. Like there's two characters that had hoods on or whatever.
Faces?
Yeah, the long pointy faces.
Was that from Animaniacs?
I'm not sure because
maybe they turned that.
Rocky and Bullwinkle reminded me of that just because of like the art style and whatever. Man.
The Wolf said, I went to Bullwinkle's for my 3rd birthday. That would have been awesome. And then I think it was a Merville said, when you got older, you got to play with cash, no toys. Oh, in real life. I thought you meant like in the sand pit. Like they put cash in there.
Well, yeah, cash is pretty dirty too. Oh, it's called Spy versus Spy.
Yeah, Spy.
That's what it was.
I know which one you're talking about.
That's right. And then also Rocco's Modern Life.
I remember Rocco's Modern Life.
Classic.
Okay, before we get to Chris Knobloch post-game yesterday and Mike Sullivan post-game yesterday, both teams losing yesterday, I want to read this from the Wolf. I love how this just opened up a whole different avenue that we've gone down on this Sunday where we sprung forward and lost an hour. It's 9 a.m, almost 10. So we're going on a little bit of a tangent, but it's fun. This is from the Wolf, who makes a good point. Tommy, that's why our immune systems are significantly stronger. I'm 35 and love looking back at all the things we used to do that is unsanitary nowadays. Yes, we did. We had like, I don't know. I remember in elementary, our old playgrounds, we had 2, like one for the younger kids, one for the older kids. So kindergarten to grade, let's say 3. Then the 4th graders to 6th graders would have their own. It was a more challenging playground on the other side of the field. I just remember how dirty the sandbox would get, like the sand in there, because it wasn't the rubber stuff. It wasn't wood chips. It was sand.
Yep.
And it had garbage in it. And like the school would clean it every spring, obviously. But you'd find some stuff in there. You'd be like, oh, what is that? And then they had old tires. If you want to just play in the sand, they would have like monster truck tires in the corners, and you just go sit in them and play with your toys. It was disgusting when you think back on it.
Well, it's still great. I love digging in the sand. Like as a kid, we never had on my playground. We didn't have like that tier system, I guess, or you gotta be in grade 4 to play with the bigger kids, and then grade like 5 to.
I would not go to the older kids.
Oh,
I would leave it until I got to 4th grade.
Okay.
And I went there, and I was like, damn, this is dangerous. Love it. And everything was made out of wood and metal.
Yeah. Not dangerous at all, for sure.
Not dangerous at all. And then if it got really hot, the slide, obviously made of metal, would get really hot.
Oh, I've burnt myself on a couple of those slides, like as a little kid sliding down, and then you get like stuck on it too sometimes.
Or you play tag, and someone always got hurt playing tag.
Yeah. Running up the slide.
You'd be tempted to push someone as they were running into a post or something. Oilers and Penguins coming up in an hour. 10 minutes. Okay, send us your thoughts going into the game. Memories as we go down memory lane, obviously, on this Sunday. Back-to-back games for the Oilers. They lose 3-2 in a shootout to the Buffalo Sabres. The Pens got spanked yesterday by Boston, 5-1 in Boston. So both teams had to travel, and we saw the Oilers just absolutely dominate the Pittsburgh Penguins, 6-1 last Sunday here in Edmonton. Let's go to Chris Knobloch because we have Cass coming up in about 5 minutes and hear his thoughts following his team's loss in the shootout yesterday.
So how disappointing is it to not come out with 2 points?
Yeah, we're very disappointed. In the first period, I thought we played really well. We're up 2-0. Unfortunately, we gave up the penalty kill goal. And then I think we just had a lot of opportunities, maybe in the third, to add to our lead. And if we get up to a 2-goal lead, it's probably a little bit different game where we can sit back. I thought in the third period, up until they got the goal, I thought we defended really well. I didn't think they had very much shots or offensive zone time. I thought we played it really well, and unfortunately they get that opportunity and changes the game.
How do you assess a game like that? Because you talk about the discipline on the defensive side of the puck, but you guys don't necessarily come out with the result. As a coach, what's the messaging to the team?
There's a lot of things that we can take out of that as the positives. Offensively, yes, there was only 2 goals and one of them was shorthanded, but I thought we had a lot of good chances. I know there was a lot of goal posts. A goalie came up with some big saves, just didn't capitalize, and we'll have to, there's chances when we score a lot more goals than we should have, just the way it goes, and tonight we just came up a little short.
What was the kind of chain of events to think you had lost in overtime, and then when were you informed, or who informed you that, hey, this is offside, you need to get back out there?
Glenn Belton, he came in the dressing room, told us. We were looking at it in the dressing room with the video coaches, and it looked like it was extremely close. It looked frame by frame, their quality that they get a look at is different than what we get to see. And obviously they saw that it was offside, and everyone was very disappointed and was getting their gear off, and that's what the delay was. But it gave us an opportunity to get that extra point, but unfortunately we didn't.
All right, there's Chris Knobloch. That was a recap of yesterday with the Oilers losing 3-2 in the shootout. We will hear from Chris Knobloch. He spoke to the media about 15 minutes ago, and we'll get to that. We just want to kind of go over what both teams did yesterday. The Penguins getting spanked by the Boston Bruins. Let's hear from Mike Sullivan after his team's loss.
The shots on net compared to the Bruins today, just what made finishing tough for the team?
I wish I had an answer for you. I thought we had some really good looks. Yeah. We just didn't finish. We hit some crossbars. We hit a couple of posts. We had some deflection opportunities. So that's one side of it. I think the other aspect of it is that I think when you look at the goals that they scored, some of the looks that they got were high quality. And they're a good team and they have good players, so they are going to get some looks. But I thought we did some things, that gave them an opportunity to get those types of looks, and we've got to do a better job. We got to take care of the puck. We got to be better late in shifts. Our line changes. One of their goals against our forwards change and give them a 3-on-2. You just simply can't change. And if you're tired, you just simply can't be tired. You got to stay and compete, and that's what winning hockey is about. And I thought we learned that lesson the hard way tonight.
Mike, was there some element in this game of everybody kind of snapping out of it a little bit? Did you notice some of that? I mean, in a good way.
I thought we competed hard.
I'm asking about, obviously.
I thought we had better energy. I thought we had better energy. I thought we had, we had more compete in our game. There was moments. I thought we had a great start. Our first, probably 7 or 8 minutes was really strong. We had a couple of good looks. Bunce gets a breakaway early in the game. We score there. It probably gives us some juice. They get a good save. That's hockey. So there was parts of the game that we really liked. But there were, like I said, there were other instances where I think we just, we shoot ourselves in the foot a little bit with just, a lack of awareness or diligence or whatever word you want to use to describe it. I just think we've got to be. We have to have a better understanding of game management and how to manage the game in certain instances, and latent shifts, line changes, all those details are so critically important.
Like you mentioned the bad line changes, probably a penalty or two you didn't like either, I'm guessing. Is that just a sign of frustration, the inability to score, do you think, and people maybe losing their cool mentally a little bit? Or?
I didn't get the sense frustration was an issue tonight. I thought we were competing hard. Yeah, we did take a couple of penalties. Some were avoidable. But you could probably come out of every game saying both teams could probably say the same thing, right? So I didn't get the sense it was from any sort of frustration. I think like I said, I thought there were moments when, long stretches of the game that our guys were competing hard, executing, had significant offensive zone time, putting pucks at the net, getting people inside, trying to make the sight lines difficult. We defended hard a couple of times, created some opportunities off the rush. We had a 2-on-1 on the penalty kill. Lars hits the crossbar. It wasn't like we didn't have our looks. We had some glorious opportunities. We just didn't finish them.
Mike, I thought Nedeljkovic was strong in the first period, but it was third straight start where he allowed 5 or more goals. Just where's his game right now? Because he's clearly battling in a good way out there. But
yeah, he's a fierce competitor. He's a fierce competitor. He's a battler. It's he's an easy guy to root for, the way he competes and plays a position the way he does. He's these last handful of stretch of games I think are difficult to assess with respect to the goaltending position. I think tonight was a little bit different. The prior few games were much different how they were played. I think I thought our team was in the moment more. I thought the mindset was where it needed to be. We made some mistakes. We've got to try to clean those up, but they're not easy games to assess. So I'm not sure I have a good answer for you.
All right, that was Mike Sullivan following his team's 5-1 loss to the Boston Bruins yesterday in Boston, and both teams had to travel, the Oilers and the Penguins, back to Pittsburgh for this morning's game. Obviously, 1 o'clock start in Pittsburgh out east, but the Penguins, 1 win in their last 6 games. That one came against Columbus following the loss to Edmonton last Sunday. We remember that 6-1 Oilers win. That was a 60-minute effort. Somebody after the game yesterday was saying, Tom, can this team ever play a 60-minute game? And they did against the Penguins. They have a couple of times this year, but for the majority of the season, the Oilers, pick and choose their spots. They rally late in games. The third periods are good when they dig themselves holes, which has kind of been a thing lately. And yesterday, they watched the lead slip away to the Buffalo Sabres and could not rally. Okay, so for the Penguins, just that 1 win in their last 6. This season for them is totally going off the rails, and we'll see. I mean, they're going to try to rally against the Oilers, but if you're looking at it from an Oilers point of view, you go, geez, you got to get these points. Go 2-1-1 on this road trip, bring it back home, and regroup and try to continue to pad your lead over the Vegas Golden Knights and the LA Kings, who are tied at 75 points. Who are chasing you 4 points back. Blown opportunity yesterday, picking up just the 1 point, and obviously we know that it was a stinker in Columbus. So Edmonton looking for that bounce back. They had 1 good period yesterday and kind of let it slip away the rest of the game. We are going to get to our game analyst, Matt Kassian, for Game Changers. Let's bring him on, Zach, to come. There he is. Good morning, Cass. What's going on, pal? How you doing?
Good morning.
What?
It's chaos. I've never understood the whole switching the time thing, and it just if you have kids or young kids,
yeah,
it just creates chaos. Your the whole day's thrown off. And I was texting you this morning too, I don't understand having and I know it's a Pittsburgh, a 1 o'clock game or an afternoon game when you have that time change on that day. It's just nuts. It's just nuts to me. So it's complete chaos in the Cassian household, but we'll survive. We're good.
Are the girls okay? Are they cranky? Is everything good over there? What's going on? Are you trying to wrangle them?
Trying to wrangle, lots of fights over outfits and wearing this and wearing that. And it's just... You're just changing up the schedule of the day for no reason. I don't know if we actually save any time by doing the whole time thing. So it is what it is. But but we're good. I still feel like yelling at everyone post trade deadline. I haven't got over it yet. So that's still hanging around with me. So maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the grumpy one, Tommy.
Well, no. You seem like you're in good spirits, and we appreciate that, bringing some energy in this early edition of the Oil Stream pregame show. Do you bribe the girls to behave with a trip to McDonald's after church, like my parents used to do to my brothers and I?
On occasion, they will. And actually, and I don't, my Instagram's private. I just kind of, there's not very many people on there, but my wife on hers, it used to be when we would do that, I'd always do a impression going through the drive-through for the kids
Really?
of something. Yeah, and she would always film it. Some of them were pretty bad. Some of them were pretty funny. But yeah. So on occasion, I don't know if that's going to happen today or not. We'll see.
Are the girls old enough to like, Dad, that's not funny anymore?
No, they still they'll try to tell me what to do, and they always, like, every single time they want me to do Sven from Frozen. It's like that's their automatic. It's like, dude, this Sven voice, Dad, do this Sven voice. So they'll probably yell that again today if we were to go again. I don't know if we will or not yet. We'll wait.
Depending on how they behave.
Yeah, well,
or if you're hungry.
Thus far,
you and Mandy are hungry.
It's more on the, do I have the energy to deal with anything else? That's it's not so much for the kids. It's more for mom and dad.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. When you mentioned Sven from Frozen, I have no clue what that is. Zach DeCum.
It's a reindeer that talks.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Zach DeCum just like jumped out of his seat. He's like, I love Sven. Look at you giggling over there, Zach DeCum. What are you going to say? You got nothing. You going to say something?
My friend's brother absolutely loved that show. Like, I'm very familiar with the show. I haven't watched the full thing myself, but I see so much of it. My 2 little baby nieces love that show. So hearing that you do the Sven voice, that's pretty funny.
You love Sven, Zach.
I love Sven.
No, he's a good character. But yeah, it's the girls want the one every single time. So that's just kind of like, I'm okay. That's enough.
Keep them happy. Keep the peace, keep the harmony, and hopefully it's a lovely Sunday. All right, Cass, let's get to Game Changers. Brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting, RE/MAX Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Him and glue guy Jay Milne were out together sending me photos. Looks like they had a lovely Saturday as I was winding down my night. But if you want to get into the market, go check out Damon Bunting. He has got you covered. All right, Cass, number 1 for Game Changers in this afternoon game out east, morning for us out west, fitting in.
Yeah, fitting in. Trade deadline is now over. You've had really a day to digest it. Like, I know you have the game against Buffalo, but everything's still so fresh, and you're on the road from it closing down on Friday, that it's like, okay, now you've had a day, you've had a game, you've had some time, you've had now, granted, not very much time. It's still a little bit of time, but you want to see the mentality of that fitting in from Carrick and Henrique. Now you've seen over the last couple games, Carrick start to you're trying to start some fights and be involved, like in the game in Columbus, and Henrique maybe not quite at the level that he's going to reach, I think, but you want to see those guys start to fit in here. Be interesting to see after that start. You had a great start against Columbus, then you kind of just give it away. Don't know exactly what the lineup is going to be yet until they probably hit the ice for warm up here with no pregame skate.
I do have an update if you want it.
Oh, give me the update, because I hadn't seen the update.
All right, Carrick is out.
Yeah,
Derek Ryan goes in.
Derek Ryan in. Okay,
staying in, obviously.
Yeah.
But so you want to fit in, but you're already taking out Carrick, and I think that speaks to Carrick being a role player, let's call it.
Yeah. Well, he is a role player, and he is a guy you can move in and out of the lineup a little bit, and you don't want Derek Ryan to get all that rusty. Now, Henrique is going to stay in, but for him, we want to see some more chemistry coming out of that group, and with Kane and Perry, and who knows if the Edmonton Oilers start slow today or aren't playing very well. It'd be interesting to see what type of a blender and what type of a look we get from Chris Knobloch. So, I think, you know what? You had a game. You had some of the emotion of the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. I know it's still short notice, but you got to start fitting in for those guys, and more so for Henrique, being the big piece that came in.
Yes, absolutely. So if you didn't catch it, Sam Carrick is out. Derek Ryan is in, fourth line center. And we'll see what happens if that works out for the Oil in Pittsburgh this afternoon. All right, number 1 was fitting in. Number 2, Cass, playing with the lead.
Yeah, one of the things that Edmonton did such a great job of the last time they played Pittsburgh, which is not very long ago. Is it just a week ago now? Yeah,
Yes,
it's just
exactly,
a week ago.
on
Even.
the button.
Exactly a week on the button. So not very long ago. Is when they got the lead in that hockey game. They didn't let it go. Like they played the same way the entire game. It was a complete 60 minutes. They just kept chipping away at it. And Pittsburgh didn't have much in the tank. Now, if you look at Pittsburgh's record recently and being sellers of the trade deadline, you've had comments from Crosby about it being a unique situation that he's not used to, and it is. This is a vulnerable Pittsburgh team, and finding that consistency in, especially when you have that lead. We saw them give it up yesterday. Today against a vulnerable Pittsburgh team, it is so important that if you get the lead, you just continue to do the same things. You continue to do the right things, and you just keep. I mean, I don't want to say you want to kick Pittsburgh while they're down, but they're down right now.
Down.
Like emotionally, they are down right now. And coming out of trade weekend, they are down. So you have a huge emotional opportunity here. And if you can get the lead, Tommy, it's just so important that you just snuff any ability for Pittsburgh to get back into one if you score the first goal or if you're up a goal at any time tonight.
Yeah. It just, you look at like Crosby on the bench yesterday when they were losing in Boston, pardon me. You could just see it, like that 1,000-mile stare, right? And that's just a bad place to be with 20 games to go, Cass. I can't imagine. Did you have a couple of teams that had that, or were you guys always in the mix? I know you had a few playoff rounds with Ottawa.
No, the last year with Ottawa was we were not very good.
No bueno.
We were not very good, but I think the difference between that is we weren't a team with Sidney Crosby and Evander Malkin that had won the cup over the and been a playoff team for a long period of time. It was like, no, we were a scrappy playoff team the year before, but no one really expected us to do much.
Right.
It's not like we were a team that was just still felt like we should be in it. It was like, no, we were just bad. So I think it's a different mentality because you expect to be in it, and Sidney Crosby expects to be in it. And then all of a sudden he's not. And it's like, this is going to be the second year in a row from playoffs, first time that's ever happened for him. You're expecting with some of the additions you made before the season that you were going to, the Erik Karlsson trade, for example, that you were going to, still be pressing, still have a chance, still feel like you're in it, and you're not. So I think it's just a totally different emotional place being on the, let's call it the tail end of the business cycle for Sidney Crosby, where it's just unknown. And that isn't something that I had to deal with because I was never on a team that was as good as Pittsburgh for as long as Pittsburgh was.
Well, Pittsburgh has had a great run. Chicago had a good run. LA had a decent run, and it's weird to see this, that's for sure. It is Game Changers with Matt Kassian. Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting. Remax Elite. Number 1 was fitting in. Number 2, playing with the lead. Number 3, Cass, 5 of 8.
Yeah, and this goes back to what we talked about before they left on the road trip, about what would be a successful road trip for the Edmonton Oilers. And what I had said was that you finish above 500, and that would be successful. If you finish with 5 points, 5 out of the 8, I think that's a successful road trip. Going on the road with trade deadline, with the changes, with everything going on, I think that would be good. Now, ideally, they would have just had and gotten more than that with the game yesterday against Buffalo, but they gave that away. They gave away the game with Columbus where you didn't have a great game, but you still have an opportunity to finish this thing off right here. Really, you want as a player when you break up games into segments. Now, oftentimes teams do it as a bigger picture. You break them up into 10-game segments. But you always break them down into the road trip. When you're on a road trip and it's more than like 2 games, you're breaking it down into, okay, what's going to be successful in this road trip? And for this group to continue to build and gain that momentum, that forward progress, to create space between yourself and Vegas, to create space between yourself and LA, to, who knows, maybe try and catch the Vancouver Canucks. You got to keep banking points here. Now, again, you end up with a shootout point in what was a pretty weird overtime, ultimately.
Yes.
But you have to get after the 2 points here, Tommy. You don't want this to be, an unsuccessful road trip.
Right.
And the reason that I don't want that is because they had that period after All-Star break where they really struggled. And then they started to turn it around again.
Mm-hmm.
And to go back on the road and all of a sudden, we've dropped a bunch and we haven't found ways to win hockey games in games where we should have won. I just think mentally, emotionally, and from a momentum standpoint, it's not good enough, and I don't want to see them kind of start to tail off again,
right?
Or take any kind of a nosedive from their play. So this is a hugely important game for the Edmonton Oilers today to close out a road trip in an afternoon game. Weird day with the changing hours on the road. It's a big one.
4-5-1 out of the gate after All-Star break and bye week, and then they rattle off a 5-game win streak, and then since then they've dropped their last two, where they lost in Columbus, blew those points, and then also lost the lead yesterday and blew a point to the Buffalo Sabres. Can't let that happen today against the Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, Cass, I know you need to get going right away here, but we started the show talking about cartoons and shows we would watch as kids in the morning. What were your big ones?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Yes,
and Looney Tunes. Those are the two. Those are the two big ones.
Classic.
Yeah.
Any
those are.
Did you get into like Teddy Ruxpin and My Pet Monster and that stuff?
No.
Tintin?
No.
Tintin
a little bit.
That was a
little
good
bit Tintin. Yeah, Tintin a little bit. But I more like we would get the Tintin comics, like the actual comic books from the library.
Right.
Yeah, like my mom would take us and we loved getting those from the library. So we would roll through those, not as much on the cartoon. I mean Ninja Turtles was the
jam.
That was the bee's knees. A little bit back, I mean, maybe when we're a little bit older, like the old X-Men.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Great show.
The old like Spider-Man was awesome too.
Yep.
Those would kind of all boys, right? So you're kind of a lot of the superhero stuff you rolled, but probably the biggest two would have been TMNT and Looney Tunes. That was the classic.
Did you see they're doing X-Men 97?
Yeah, kind of like an updated. Yeah, bring it back. So I saw that they're doing that. Yeah, I haven't checked it out. So I'm not sure if it's out yet or not. But
it's coming. And I watched the trailer. My brother sent it to me, and I'm like, okay, cool, but why? Like the motivation doesn't seem right outside of money and toys and that stuff.
What more motivation do you need, Tommy?
I just answered my own question, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Cass. Great stuff. Enjoy church and get yourself a toy with your Happy Meal after church, okay?
I will be ripping back to catch up on the game and to talk with you. So we'll be there.
All right, Cass. We'll see you on the post-game show.
Sounds good.
That is our game analyst, Matt Kassian, before heading off to church with his girls and his lovely wife, Mandy. Getting us up to speed as the Oilers get set to take on the Penguins. You can text us 780-218-9999, or if you're watching on our YouTube channel, hit the thumbs up. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying your coffee. I've got a nice Americano going. You Americano guy? It's my go-to.
Honestly, I don't know how those fancy coffees work. Okay, I know there's Americanos, latte
with hot water, and then I put milk and sugar in it. That's all it is.
Well, I'm not smart. I just do regular coffee. If somebody gives me coffee, I absolutely love coffee. I'll take anything.
Are you putting like 3 sugars and a bunch of milk in there, or cream, or what do you
double. Regular is good. 1 cream, 1 sugar. Yeah. I change it up sometimes. Like depends on the day. I like my coffee like a little bit sweeter, but not where it's just sugar. Even though I do like those Starbucks drinks.
So when you want to get basic, you go for the macchiato.
Yeah, I go for Starbucks.
Excuse me, I will take a venti caramel macchiato, please.
Yeah, I love those things.
With a little extra caramel.
Or what is it? The sugar cookie iced coffee. I get all those. I used to spend so much money when I was still on the NAIT campus. Mm-hmm. Every single day, I'd probably spend too much money. It's like $6 on a drink.
They have a Starbucks there now?
They have 2.
2 on campus?
Yeah, and then 2 Tim Hortons.
I remember Tim's being there when I was there. That was a long time ago. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right beside the meat shop, and then one in the newer building, like the Cat building.
The Cat building was being built when I was there.
Oh, it's a beautiful place. Radio and TV isn't there. It's in.
I know. It's in like one of the original buildings from the 60s.
Yeah.
The V building.
Yep. Yeah. The best building.
Sure. It is a great spot, though. But, anyway, hope you're doing well this morning, enjoying a breakfast, maybe a macchiato, perhaps an Americano, or just a double-double? Or like Zach to come, or just a medium reg? I don't know. I don't know the people that do coffee just straight up black. It's like, ugh.
It's really good when you're working out because it's a very
out?
Yeah, well, right before you work out, it's a good like stimulant because you perform better. I could talk about this for a little bit, but black coffee is kind of disgusting though.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
I agree.
However you're enjoying your coffee and your breakfast, we appreciate you tuning in this morning, getting you set for the Oilers and the Penguins. All right, I did mention that Carrick is out and Derek Ryan is in. I saw a text that came in earlier that said, hey, what do you think of Carrick being out? Like a bit surprising because it's so early in his tenure as an Oiler, and Cass alluded to it that they're getting Derek Ryan in to keep him going, and they want him to be a part of that fourth line, obviously, and he's a penalty killer. So too is Carrick. Not a big deal. Talking to people from the Oilers hockey ops department, they're just like, yeah, he's a fourth liner. We'll see what he brings us. Just a different type of fourth liner compared to Gagner when he was up at the big club before being sent down. Different than Derek Ryan, certainly. And it gives them options in that fourth line that they can move around. So, he's not here to be a pillar on the team. He was an added piece to give a little extra jam to the bottom six, and so they're getting Derek Ryan back in. Now, would I have taken Connor Brown out instead of Sam Carrick? Yes. I know the coach likes what Connor Brown brings to the table. I don't see it. But that's just me. I'm not a head coach of an NHL team, nor am I a GM. It's probably a good thing. But we're going to see Derek Ryan in for Sam Carrick. All right, we have fresh Chris Knobloch. He spoke about 25 minutes ago. We have that for you. Let's hear from the Oilers head coach.
This afternoon?
Yeah, Derek Ryan's come back in. Sam's coming out. So I think Sam played really well the other night. But with all this travel and playing 3 and 4, just having a little more fresher legs in our lineup, and DR has been playing so well that we want him back in the lineup.
With how tight this back-to-back is, it's a quick turnaround. Does that make it easier for this group to be able to bounce back given yesterday's circumstances?
I think for the players, less time to think about it and just get back to playing the game. Always easier, and I think the other night was, unfortunate. We're not happy with the result. And, we got an opportunity just right away to make amends.
A couple of housekeeping questions before following up on that. Will we see the same formations in the lineup? Is it just one swap between Derek, or are you planning on executing a different lineup?
A little bit different, okay. But Derek in that 4C spot, but the lines will stay pretty much the same.
Okay, and Calvin Pickard today?
Calvin will be playing, yes.
Okay, so talking about the result, when your team doesn't get the result that they're looking for, but you guys are creating chances, it just comes to a matter of bearing goals. Is that okay with you guys in terms of being so process-oriented that you just want to make sure you're playing the right way, even if the results come or not?
Absolutely. We want to play our way, and we have to adjust to what the other team's doing, obviously, but we feel that we've got the team that we should be able to dictate the game, the style, the way we're playing. And Buffalo's a young, talented team, plays very loose and on the go, and you could see it yesterday, and we gave up too much. I think we need to check a little bit closer, tighter to them, give them a little less space because their entries were a little bit better than we would have liked to. We gave them a little bit more room. They created a little more offense, but I think that was the little adjustment that we would like to make.
You just saw Pittsburgh. What do you expect from them?
Well, that was one of our better games of the year, but they also had a little it was a tough travel day for them. Caught them at the end of a road trip, and they'll be much better than what we saw in Edmonton. We got to make sure that we're not thinking it's going to be as easy as it was last game.
All right, that was Chris Knobloch. That was from earlier this morning, saying that Sam Carrick's coming out. He did like his game yesterday, but they want to get Derek Ryan in, and the lines will pretty much stay similar to what we saw yesterday. The tweaks that are expected, or we will see, we will bring those to you when we get confirmation from Pittsburgh, when the teams hit the ice for warm-up in about 10 minutes or so. But we did get notification that Calvin Pickard will start for the Oilers. Not surprising, obviously. He is 8-4 this season with a .245 goals against average, .909 save percentage, 1 shutout in the 13 games he has played. Pickard has faced Pittsburgh 6 times in his career. He has a 3-1-1 record, a .256 goals against average, .923 save percentage. Got the win against the Pens last Sunday. And at the other end of the rink, you know him because of what he did here in Edmonton with the Oil Kings, winning a Memorial Cup. It is good guy overall, 28-year-old Tristan Jarry, 18-20-4 on the season. Jarry, in 43 games this year, a .268 goals against average, a .908 save percentage, 6 shutouts, and 4 games lifetime versus Edmonton. Has a 1-3 record, .494 goals against average, .856 save percentage for the former Oil Kings. So not a great record versus Edmonton, and then Pickard pretty good against Pittsburgh. Had a nice day against the Pens, or night, because that was a 7 o'clock start last weekend on a Sunday here in Edmonton. Had a good go, and had the shutout bid spoiled by Evgeny Malkin, which was too bad. So maybe, who knows what happens today. We'll see. Don't play loose, though. Play loose. You could get in trouble. Penguins have been getting crushed lately. 1 win in their last 6 games, and I'll read off those scores for you because it gives you a real taste of where this team was at. I was talking about it earlier in the show, watching the highlights yesterday when they got beat 5-1 by Boston. They had a shot at the bench late in the game, and they were dejected, and rightly so, and they had the 1,000-mile stare, and they are not in a good place as they get set to close out a disappointing season in Pittsburgh. So in the 5 losses in their last 6, they dropped a 2-0 decision to Seattle. Then they lost 4-3 to Calgary last Saturday. They were leading that game 3-1. The Flames with 3 goals in the last 10 minutes. That was tough. That basically was like the second last nail in the coffin to their season. They come to Edmonton the next day. They get into town late. I think around 4 in the morning is when they got to the J-Dub across the street from the arena. Do not hold a morning skate, obviously. Edmonton had to fly in from Calgary Seattle from playing an afternoon game. The Pens came in from Calgary. Edmonton spanks them 6-1. Then the Pens come home to Pittsburgh, win against Columbus 5-3, lose to Washington 6-0, go to Boston yesterday and lose 5-1. Now they get Edmonton again, and then they hit the road for Ottawa on Tuesday, and then they return home for a 3-game homestand. Edmonton returning home after today's game to take on the Caps on Wednesday. By the way, that's our next watch party at Hudson's. I'm just double-checking. I'm pretty sure it is the West Edmonton Mall location on Bourbon Street. Yes, indeed. So Wednesday against the Washington Capitals, we will be on location. I will, at least, at Hudson's West Edmonton Mall. Those have been a lot of fun. Come down. I've got a lot of GCs to give away. We have some fun, and it should be great. If you're not going to the game, you want somewhere to go, take advantage of some food and drink deals, come see me at the Bourbon Street location of Hudson's on Wednesday when the Oilers take on the Caps. Then they get the Avs on Saturday. They get a couple days between games. Then the Habs, that's also a Hudson's night. And then the Sabres on the 21st. Habs 19th, Sabres on the 21st. Then they hit the road for 3, the Oilers do. They go to Toronto next Saturday, Ottawa next Sunday, or the Sunday on the 24th. And then they wrap that trip up in Winnipeg on the 26th. They come home to wrap up the month against LA and Anaheim, and it sets up a busy April. So that is the road ahead. 780-218-9999 if you want to text us. I'm looking at all the nasty chats. Good morning. If you're just joining us, hit the thumbs up on your way in, please, and thank you. Dr. Nutsy Thielsen, I still like the fact that you added doctor to your name after the conversation the boys had on the morning show a few weeks ago. I think we'd all have taken Connor Brown out. Knobloch must have bet the house on Brown scoring a goal before the season ends. Trevor McMullet Wheel, great name, says, no one forechecks like Brown. He's a dog on the puck in both zones. Okay. I can appreciate the hard work. but Larry adds, Connor Brown has done nothing to earn a spot in the lineup. I do not get it. Facepalm emoji. Good morning, Larry. What do you think, Zach Tacombe? Where are you at, pal? Where are you at? There you are.
I'm right here.
Let's see that fresh face.
Well, see, Connor Brown, of course, we all know that he does amazing things on the penalty kill. He has a good stick.
Hang on. Adequate things. I like that you're pumping him up, though. I like this positivity. That's a good thing. Thank you.
I'm trying to stay positive with him.
I appreciate that.
Of course, goalless. It's tough for him. Has no confidence, really.
Clearly, yes. That's true.
And
very true.
Sam Carrick, I believe, like he would just fit better. I would also slot him in the lineup over Brown today. I don't really understand on that front, but of course, as you said, we're not GMs. We're not the coaches.
I know.
They see something different. They really like Connor Brown's play, but after Sam Carrick's not last game, but the game before, like he already fought. He already dropped the gloves. I just like the way he plays. He's a heavy hitter. What is he? Second in hits. Like he lands a lot of hits. He's second in hits for forwards. Sam Carrick. My
Carrick,
apologies.
yes. Yeah, sorry.
He's a good hitter. He's very physical, and I personally would rather have that than Connor Brown. And he's also just doesn't have that scoring capability as Carrick does.
He does not. I'm laughing at the nasty chat, by the way. That's why I'm giggling.
Oh, what's going on in the nasty chat?
I'll read what's going on. I appreciate your diatribe there. Okay. Oh, all right. I'll go to Rip City. Step says, I'd have taken Brown out after Game 9, Game 10, etc. I think Brown will be out one of the next 2 games. I think they'll rotate Ryan and Brown until they can call Holloway up again for the playoffs. Zulu also feels the same way, saying the fourth line will be a rotating door until they find something with someone there. Rip City Step thinks and says that Carrick is out today because it's been hectic for him. Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Like there's no delusions of grandeur when it comes to Sam Carrick, you know? He's a fourth liner. He's a little bit more rough and tumble. Do you really need that against Pittsburgh today? Not really. Got to get Derek Ryan back in the mix. There's some logic there. I get it. But I would probably take Connor Brown out. Unless they really think Brown might score and that might get him going. And I've downgraded him from Mike Pekka potential to Peter Klima. And if you don't recall Peter Klima, do you know what Peter Klima did in 1990?
No, I do not actually. No.
Okay. Do you know what Mike Pekka did in 2006?
No, I did not.
May I refresh your memory?
Because I was a wee baby when that 2006 season happened.
Richard says Zach Tacombe is a fresh bebe. Yeah, he is. In 2006, the Oilers got Pekka and Pronger. And Pekka, there was a lot of high hopes for him. It was coming out of a lockout year. The whole season was wiped out. It sucked. It was a weird year in hockey. But Pekka didn't have a great regular season, but in the playoffs, really stepped it up and earned his money from that season. And scored some big goals, was great on the penalty kill, added depth. That line was tenacious, ferocious. It was great. So I was like, well, maybe Connor Brown's going to have a Mike Pekka season. I've downgraded to Peter Klima now. Peter Klima was a tremendously talented forward, scored a lot of points, but he would find his way into the doghouse. And with John Muckler, he was in the doghouse in Boston in the Stanley Cup final. And they were in overtime. It was the triple OT game. And Muckler finally said, Peter, get out there. And Klima, who hadn't played since, I think, like the second or third period of that game, went and scored the OT winner for the Oilers. And they went on to win the Stanley Cup against Boston that year. So I'm like, maybe he becomes Peter Klima. That's a whim and a prayer.
Yeah, always a possibility. You could see that Connor Brown, I mean, he scored 20 goals quite a few times. Last season that he had with the Senators in that the COVID season with the North Division, I believe that was. The Oilers saw him a lot, and I remember watching his game during that time, and I'm like, that's the kind of player the Oilers would need. I like the way he plays, and he's a great player. It's just 5 months, man. You could talk about it as long as you want, but
no confidence.
Like, what do you do? I'm surprised he hasn't been sent down. Honestly, like I don't know how that works there. I don't know what's going on, but they're paying him money. I think they're reluctant because of that. Like, if they weren't paying him so much money and he's guaranteed all this salary,
and they've already they've got egg on their face from the Jack Campbell situation.
Yeah, so to have
part of me thinks that might be part of it.
Well, because that would be $5 million, and then I guess 3. Yeah.
All told, it's Brown's getting $4 million for this season, right? With that bonus that's being that's going to go on next year's cap.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like 3.25. Yeah, 225. Yeah. Good bonus for him. Good for him getting the bag.
Sure.
But
not making it though. Not earning it. Peter Klima, by the way, twice an Oiler. Uglier helmet than the classic Jofa. He had a Jofa as well, but it was an even uglier Jofa than the one Gretzky, Curry, McSorley, Michel Goulet, and those players wore. Believe it or not, there was a worse Jofa helmet, and Peter Klima picked it and wore it in his first run with the Oilers. 780-218-9999 if you want to get in on the Nasty Chat and our inbox. We want to hear from you. Zulu says, I expect much better from McDavid today. Yes, McDavid fighting the puck yesterday. We were talking about it on the post-game show. It was bouncing a lot, and in general, people were saying, hey, there was a NLL game in Buffalo the night before. Maybe that had something to do with the ice, but both teams had to deal with the conditions, and for the Oilers, it seemed to hamper them and McDavid as well. I wanted to get to a few texts that I saw earlier. Let's go to this. From Jason in Leduc. Good morning. Jason says, I'm sure Carrick will be better when he gets up to speed. He had some loose plays and turnovers in his own zone yesterday. That raised my eyebrows. I'm sure as he settles in, he will do just fine. I feel like he's a guy whose value will increase in the playoffs. Hey, Original Puzar. All right, good to hear from Original Puzar. Holloway left the game, did not return last night. There's your update from the farm. Thank you, OP. Good to hear from you. This one says, you think Brown comes back? It's from our boy Barron, who says, you think Brown comes back next year on a league minimum in hopes he produces better? We are playing him and paying him. Also, Bob tweeted the lines. We'll get to the lines right away here. I saw that. Your boy Barron, do I think Brown comes back next year to Edmonton? No. I think he goes elsewhere on a league minimum deal, and I think he probably has a better season. It ain't happening here. I don't know how you bring him back after seeing what we see. Unless something magical happens in the postseason or today, soon, he wakes up and totally redeems himself, but I don't see that happening. Jocelyn says, Brecky with my mom and an Oilers pregame. Happy Sunday. Go Oilers. Hey, good morning, Jocelyn. Calgary Glenn says, morning, Tommy. Do you know if there's a flu running through the team? McDavid looked like he was going to throw up when they came back out in OT. There was a couple of weeks ago. We saw Holloway when he was still up here in Dallas. He was sick. And then who else got sick? There was another player that got sick. Nugent Hopkins got sick. By all accounts, they're okay, but maybe there's some that are catching it late. But there definitely was a couple of weeks ago. All right, let's go to the Penguins lines for today, and then we'll go to the Oilers lines as well. Both teams on the ice for warm-up. Pittsburgh coming off a 5-1 loss in Boston yesterday. The Oilers losing in a shootout in Buffalo after getting scored on in overtime with 2 seconds left. Terrible defensive play. I have no idea what Zach Hyman was doing. I have no idea what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins... Well, actually, Nugent-Hopkins was the least guilty party in that one. Nurse and Hyman played that one so poorly, backing off, letting Power walk in and shoot it and score. They thought it was over. It wasn't. They review, offside. They come back. They almost get scored on in the last 20 seconds that they had to replay, and then they lose eventually in the shootout. All right, here's the Pittsburgh Penguins lineup for today. Crosby between the recently acquired for Jake Gensel, Michael Bunting, Brian Rust on the right side. Evgeny Malkin between Riley Smith and Puustinen. Lars Eller with Ricard Raquel and Emil Bemstrom. Nola Chari with Gruden and Jeff Carter on his wings on the fourth line. On defense for Pittsburgh this afternoon, you're going to see Pettersson paired up with Letang, Ryan Graves with Erik Karlsson, Ludwig with P.O. Joseph. In goal, Tristan Jarry, the former Oil King. For the Edmonton Oilers, in Pittsburgh today, Connor McDavid with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman, Leon Draisaitl with Ryan McLeod and Warren Foegele. They were the best line yesterday for the Oilers. Started out great. Adam Henrique with Evander Kane and Connor Brown. Derek Ryan back in the lineup for Sam Carrick with Matthias Janmark and Corey Perry. Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Desharnais, Kulak with Ceci, Calvin Pickard gets the start. What say you, Nasty Chat? What say you, Oil Country? Connor Brown elevated to align with Adam Henrique and Evander Kane. Zach to come?
I got them.
Your
I got
eyebrows
some.
were raised right there.
I have some thoughts for sure about that one. I get, like, it's a different look. Henrique, of course, he could play both sides of the puck. Like,
yeah,
he's a very well-rounded
center,
player,
right? Like,
and
yeah,
I think they're banking on Brown to try and score in this game. Like,
are they trying to get him going?
I think they're trying to get him going. They got to give him a different look, maybe to try and elevate his game and just to see. I mean, the Penguins, they haven't been very good, and this, I guess, would be the game to try that. Even though the Oilers were up against not so very good teams the last couple of games, but
they blew those points.
Exactly.
4, yeah.
Exactly. And you got to try something new. And I don't hate it. It's just surprising. That's the eyebrow raise for you, but it's interesting to see. And I'm going to keep my eye out for that one for sure. I'm going to like to see that. Hopefully.
Joel says, expletive BS. I think that's in regard to what's going on with the lineup. I had some text that I wanted to get to, but we'll see. I mean, it is Pittsburgh. They have one win in their last 6, getting owned in the last few games that they have lost. 6-0 defeat at the hands of the Caps, 6-1 to Edmonton, 5-1 yesterday to Boston. They did beat Columbus last week or earlier this week. And they dropped that game in Calgary the night before they faced Edmonton here last Sunday, blowing a 2-goal lead in the last 10 minutes, losing 4-3, and then they lost in Seattle 2-0. So maybe they're trying to get Connor Brown. Maybe they're holding out hope. Maybe. Will it work today? I have my doubts, but you never know.
Well, it's interesting to mention that the Oilers haven't lost against Pittsburgh since 2019. 20?
Are you using the website I gave
I'm
you?
using the website.
Give us the stats.
Yeah, you gave me all the good inside websites, and I've been looking. Yeah,
right.
They haven't lost since 2019 in December. 5-2 loss at home here in Edmonton, 5-2. And the next 5 games, the Oilers have won. So the last 5 games in a row, the Oilers have won by scoring 5 or more goals in each of the last 5 games played against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So
home and away.
Home and away, yes. Yeah.
There you go. 5-game heater against the Pens. Only face them twice a year. You like those odds, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, that might be something to check out on CoolBet, I can't lie.
Oh, look at you. Look at you plugging our sponsors. Well done, Zach. Look at you. You know, you're a fresh bebe, but you're learning quickly. That's why we love you. Very good. I want to get to this text. I thought it was pretty funny, actually. 780-218-9999. Tom Gazzola and Zach to come with you. We heard earlier from Matt Kassian in Game Changers. Oilers and Penguins. Sam Carrick out. Derek Ryan in. Connor Brown playing on a line today with Adam Henrique and Evander Kane. Corey Perry gets bumped down to the line with Ryan and Janmark. This one came in from Stu. We're talking about Peter Klima. I was educating Zach to come on Peter Klima and his lore as a member of the Edmonton Oilers and scoring that overtime winner in triple OT in Boston at the Old Garden when the Oilers won their last Stanley Cup in 1990. I was talking about his helmet. It was an uglier Jofa than Gretzky's and McSorley's and Curry's and Lowe's. This one from Stu. My parents bought me and my brother's Jofa helmets when we were kids, and we stuck out like sore thumbs. I remember so many kids chirping me for it. Stu.
Honestly, I think you're just jealous with his style with that Jofa helmet.
You looked at it, right?
I did. It's pretty
helmet.
bulky. It's
gross. I think they're a Swedish or a Finnish company, something like that.
I've never seen anything like it, but I love it.
Terrible.
They're amazing. I want one.
Okay. You can find them out there. There's people that wear them, and it's kind of a novelty thing. Jofa, Yager had and Lemieux had the round Jofa that they kind of made a little bit popular for a while in the early to mid-'90s, but it was like the 80s Jofas were terrible, and they provided very little protection to your head.
They got the job done, I guess.
It's like you're wearing nothing at all. Let's go to the nasty chat, 780-218-9999. People saying, oh, poor Perry. Jay Hanon says, pool party goal plus 900. We like. Who's getting in on that action? Eric says, Henrique and Perry goals today. And then Zulu wants people to pick a score. Spoon Dagger says, Hyman's lack of ability to create anything away from the boards and not able to keep offensive plays going on his stick is worrisome. Spoon Dagger, I'm not too worried about Hyman. He's on pace for 50 goals. Calvin thinks that Carrick may have sustained a minor injury from the Olivier fight. Bonvi, great name, blast from the past, says, problem with moving Brown up is he doesn't make plays and finish when he has his chances. Just let him be on the fourth line. Forecheck and smash the puck into a square. And Roger's saying, Joel, stop yelling at everyone. Cass does it too in the nasty chat. Really quickly, let's take a look at what's going on around the National Hockey League today. Relatively quiet Sunday. You've got the Oilers and the Penguins, and then later on it'll be Nashville in Minnesota. The Preds have been playing really well lately. The Wild, tough season for them. Calgary visits Carolina. Arizona is in Chicago, and then the night wraps up with the Ducks hosting the New York Islanders. Taking a quick look at the standings after a busy Saturday. Yesterday, 13 games were on the schedule. Man, the Vancouver Canucks just dummying the Winnipeg Jets 5-0. That was something else. And they started early. That was a 60-minute game. Vancouver, just taking it to Winnipeg. I was impressed watching that one. The Oilers still up on Vegas and LA. LA losing their last one. Vegas winning yesterday. 75 points each. Nashville, 9-0-1 in its last 10 games. 2 points up on the Golden Knights and the Kings. The Preds holding down the first wild card spot at 77 points, playing 65 games. This is game number 63 for the Oilers, by the way. They still have 1 game in hand on the Kings and 2 games in hand on the Golden Knights. After that win yesterday by the Canucks, who've rattled off 4 straight, through 66 games, 91 points, making it tougher for the Oilers to even catch them. And when you blow games against Columbus and Buffalo and piss away 3 points like the Oilers did, I think Canucks are going to be taking the Pacific Division crown. Meanwhile, in the Central Division, Dallas, 5-game heater, 6-3-1 in their last 10. 89 points through 66 games. Winnipeg getting beat, like I mentioned, to Vancouver in Vancouver. 85 points through 63 games. Colorado also 85 points through 65 games. All three teams atop the Central Division, 40 wins on the season. Edmonton closing in on 40 at 38, 21, and 3. And if you're going, hey, what's Pittsburgh doing? Well, they're not doing well. They have 1 win in their last 6, a 4-5-1 record in their last 10. Through 62 games, the Pens have 64 points. Well out of the wild card spot contention. They are 8 points back with 4 teams in front of them chasing down Detroit and Tampa. The Islanders are the closest to the Red Wings at 70 points with 2 games in hand. The Islanders have rattled off 5 straight wins, so they are right there in the mix. The Red Wings, after putting together a nice stretch, have dropped 5 in a row, trying to regain whatever good play they had prior to this losing streak. Pittsburgh, 4-5-1, like I mentioned. On home ice, the Pens, a 16-11-4 record at PPG Paints Arena, playing game number 63 as well, holding down a 28-26-8 record. And like I mentioned, just 1 win in the last 6. All right, let's go back to the nasty chat and the inbox. Jocelyn saying, go Canes. I'm sure Jocelyn liked the moves that they made. Andy Pandy says, I watched the Stars and Kings last night. Big boy hockey, Tom. Not sure our, being the Oilers, back 6 will be able to cope with the best in the West. I still feel the Oilers' overall group is not quite fast enough when it counts. Avs, Canucks, Vegas play with some real speed. I hope the boys can raise their game down the stretch. Skinner is playing with some more maturity and composure this year. Fingers crossed he stays sharp and healthy. That's from Andy Pandy. I did not like the Bryson goal yesterday. The equalizer, that was a bad goal. I text Joaquin Gage. I said, what am I missing? Was the flyby screen enough to throw Skinner off? And he said, not really. So that was not a good goal. Andy Pandy also adds, though, Oilers win 5-2 today. Henrique gets on the board, 97 with a goal today, too. Andy Pandy, thank you for the text. This one from Kevin says, last 2 off the ice for warm-up again, Kane and Perry. Let's go Oilers. Kevin is in Pittsburgh. Sent a photo from just outside PPG Paints Arena. And Kevin was also in Buffalo yesterday. Nice trip for Kevin. I appreciate the update, sir. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoy. It's a beautiful arena. Pittsburgh's a lot of fun. And I said go to Carson Street after the game if you want to indulge in some Sunday festivities. It's like White Avenue on steroids. It's not bar, shop, restaurant, coffee shop, antique, vintage. It's bar. Just, and on St. Paddy's Day, it's going to be a mess on Carson Street next week. This text comes in out of Saskatchewan. It says, making PK chemistry, lefty-righty possibly, Henrique, Brown, Janmark, Ryan, in regard to the lineup changes. Brandon from Windsor checking in says, Oilers blew an opportunity for another 8-game win streak. Sad. And then I like this. Brandon from Windsor, I'm going to stack up your text, says, Brown hasn't pissed a drop all season. Carrick has a slow second game with the new team and gets pulled. Weird coaching decision. If you didn't catch it, Sam Carrick out. Derek Ryan back in. Connor Brown elevated to the third line with Henrique and Kane. Corey Perry goes down to the fourth line with Ryan and Janmark. The top 2 lines stay the same. McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl will have Foegele and McLeod on his line. That line was the Oilers' best line yesterday. McDavid was fighting the puck yesterday. We'll see if he bounced back. He generally does, and he generally plays better against Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like Zacticum mentioned, the Oilers have won their last 5 meetings against the Pens, and we'll see if they can stretch that to 6. They should be able to. Should being the key word there. What are you looking for today, Zacticum?
I'm looking for a full 60 minutes from the Oilers. I know you and I guess everybody else, lost an hour today, but the Oilers shouldn't lose an hour today. They should start right on time.
Hey, now.
And full 60 minutes is the biggest thing. Just be there. You can't give away games in the end. Like, if they do start like they did in Buffalo, scoring the 2 goals in the first period and then giving the lead away. You can't do that. you got to play the full time, and that's about it. I'm gonna look if the Oilers get a good start tonight. I think personally, I'm gonna be feeling good about the game.
Good call. Gager was right. He usually is. That's why he's one of the best in our fine city.
100%.
It will be Calvin Pickard in goal for the Edmonton Oilers. Tristan Jarry, the former Oil King, in goal for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Edmonton looking to bounce back after dropping a couple of games in Columbus and Buffalo. The Penguins, looking to bounce back after getting spanked by the Boston Bruins in Boston yesterday afternoon. That is going to do it for the Oil Stream pregame show. Huge thank you to everyone who tuned in this morning. We lost an hour, but we're in it together. We had some fun talking about old cartoons and TV shows from the past, and then we brought it back and talked about the game, because that's what we do here on EST. For Zach to come and Matt Cassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you for tuning in this morning. Enjoy the Oilers and the Pens, and then hop on for the post-game show. Maybe we're talking about an Oilers victory. Ciao for now.